All right, today we're doing some training on the Jack app, mobile app. The functionality that is available on the mobile app is designed to help your team members on site manage their construction projects. So when we log into the app, you'll see that it defaults to tasks. We can see that they're highlighted in red, which indicates that these tasks are overdue based on the due date that was set. So here we will navigate into the supervisor job setup and we can add comments to a task. The comments will record who left the comment and the time that the comment was left. We can set up a reminder notification and set up a completion email and link that to any contact that we have in the system. You can click into a task and mark complete various checklist items and save that. You can use the filter button up the top to search for keywords. You can search by assigned to, department within the business. You can search to see all tasks related just to one job. And you can also search for specific statuses, incomplete only. Here we have a list of tasks that's filtered for my tasks only. If I wanted to actually assign that to another team member within the system, I can do that also. Click on the task and I can set a department within the organisation by clicking on Edit. I can change the department to Site Management, and the assignee, I can add an assignee here. Let's assign that to Jason and save. I can also edit the due date to a date in the future. Let's make it the 9th of October. Confirm, save, and that will update all of the assignees of the updated due date. Now these tasks have been automatically created using the job template. Now, if I wanted to add another task and assign it to someone else from the field, I can do that quite easily. Just by hitting add, the status defaults to incomplete. The name, I can say call neighbours. I can add further description. I'm assigning it to a specific job. So we're putting this to 55 Adelphi Crescent. I'm putting this to site as a category and project management as the department. I'm going to assign this to Jason and it is due on the 11th of October. Now I can also assign myself a task while I'm on site, just as a reminder for something that I need to do in the future. I can add a task here and I'm going to name it Confirm. We're again assigning this to the job 55 Adelphi Crescent. The category is Site. The department is Site Management. The assignee, I can choose to put it to the job supervisor, which will default to me as the job supervisor, or I can select myself as the individual contact. The date can be linked to a schedule item in the Gantt chart, which we can search for hot water, and can be linked to the schedule item start date, or the due date can be linked to just a specific date in the future. If I want to add further details to that task, I can click on it. I can add further description by clicking Edit, Confirm, save that. I can then add comments for myself. I can upload photos, so I can come in here and either take a photo with my mobile device or I can select from the library. And this photo will then be able to be viewed on both the web application and anyone viewing this task on the mobile application. So I'm now in the task details and I can view any attachments that have been uploaded against this task. Attachments can't be uploaded via the mobile app, but they can be uploaded on the web-based application and then viewed on the mobile app. We're now going to look at how you can use Jack to submit timesheets. To record timesheets, you have two options. You can start a timer, linking this to a specific job. So we've been working on 55 Adelphi Crescent. The cost category I want to record my time against is Foundation and Site Works. And I can then press Start Timer. It's important that the employee then stops the timer and edits any breaks into the timesheet to capture the right amount of labour time. If a mistake is made, the user can delete this timesheet. And rather than using the timer, you may want to just manually enter the time that was worked. So here we're going to put time to 55 Adelphi Crescent. The costing category is Foundation and Site Works. I started at 8 a.m. and I ended at 3:30 p.m. with a half-hour break. The staff member that is recording a timesheet can add notes and save, and that timesheet will be available for a manager to review and approve and then sync to Xero. To accurately capture all of the time a staff member worked in a week, you can also record non-job related time, and you can customize the non-job related tasks that a staff member could be working on. For example, they can put in a day of sick leave on the 7th of October. They had sick leave from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. There's 8 hours of sick leave. They can add a note here and save. Some other examples of non-job related tasks could be cleaning motor vehicle, training, annual leave, etc. If a staff member has submitted a timesheet for approval and there's a correction required, this can be done by clicking into the time entry and then changing. Let's say this should have been put to timber wall and roof framing. We can save that change. We can also come in and change, let's say the break was actually 1 hour. We can update that, save, and the total time worked has updated. It should be noted that once a timesheet is synced with Xero, it cannot be edited. So previously we were looking at a global tasks view, and now we're going to dig in deeper into a specific job to look at all the information that we can see within the Jack app mobile app for each job that you are managing. So we can filter our jobs by clicking the filter button in the top right. We can then search by the name of the job. We can search by tags which have been set up within the system. We can search by job supervisor, and then we can search by the status, so under construction, complete, warranty, and then we can sort our jobs also by newest first. We can also just navigate through the list of jobs and see everything that's within the system. Here we're going to click on 55 Adelphi Crescent, and here we can see the job details. So we have the job number, the supervisor name, the selections manager name, the project address, and then down below we have all of the specific areas within the job management software. So here we can click into the schedule for specifically this job, and we see everything in the list view. We can see items that are in progress, and we can see scheduled items that are coming up in the future. We can mark a schedule item as not complete by ticking the little tick indicator on the left-hand side of the screen, and we can mark them as complete by ticking that on. We can filter our schedule by searching for a schedule item name. You can see there we have deliver appliances. We can see what date that is expected to start and the duration. We can search by our supplier contacts to see all schedule items that have been assigned to a specific supplier. Here you see we have pour lower slab and footing slab, both allocated to A1 Concrete Solutions. We can also filter by a specific date range that we may want to see. Let's say 22nd of October 2025, and we want to see to the 22nd of November only. We may also only want to see 1 month in the future, so we can go from today's date to the 22nd of November and search there, and only the schedule items that are within that period will be visible. We can search by status scheduled or in progress. We can also filter by the response that we've received from our suppliers and contractors. So we can click on the response and say we want to see all pending items, and you can see there a lot of our schedule items are still pending acceptance by our trades. We can add a new schedule item here that doesn't already exist in our job schedule. We have window and door delivery scheduled for the 17th of December, but we may want to add another schedule item to call up the window and door delivery. So we can click the add schedule item icon in the top right hand side. We name it, call up windows. We can then change the end date. Let's say we want to do it a week before the delivery. We change it to the 11th of December, and the start date becomes also the 11th of December. and then we assign it to ourselves and save. You can now see we have a new schedule item here on Thursday the 11th of December to call up Windows. Within our job, we can look at the tasks associated to that specific job. So if we click on tasks here, we can see all of the tasks that are incomplete and all of the tasks that are complete will be down the bottom of the screen. Again, we can filter our tasks by all of the fields that are available. We can open a task up. We can upload photos to a task. Just going to select a photo from my library here. Here's a photo of my slab. We can edit our task and add a completion email to be sent to another team member. And then down below, we have all of our checklist items. So we're going to check these all off and change the status of the task to complete. Now, if we have a completion email set up, an email will be automatically generated by the system to let someone else in the organization know that this task has been complete. Here you can see is an example of the email that's generated. It says that task is complete, the bricklaying checklist relating to the job 55 Adelphi Crescent. You can also reassign a checklist item to another team member. We can click edit and assignees and choose someone else within the business, either a job role, the job supervisor, selections manager assigned to the job, or we can assign it to another staff member. So we'll assign this one to Luke and save. And Luke will receive an email notifying him that he's been assigned a new task. We can also add new tasks from within a job, so they'll be assigned specifically to this job. Add a task, name it, call neighbor, regarding fence. We can categorize it to site. Department is site management. The assignee, we can assign this to the job supervisor or someone else within the business. Again, we're going to assign this to Luke, and we can set a due date either based on a specific date or a schedule item. So if we pick schedule item, we can then search a schedule item within the job schedule. Let's say we want to link this to temporary fencing, and we can lag it by a certain number of days. We could say 2 days, or we can put -2 days. That will be 2 days before the schedule items start. We can also add checklist items down below. So within this specific job, we can see all of the files that have been uploaded against this job. So we can come down and open up our plan, and we can quite easily access the PDF and view all of the plans that we need. You can see here on the right hand side whether these are shared with the client, suppliers and contractors. We can also see all of our selections for this job, so we can click in selections, we can go to painting, and we can see the status of the selection, any information that's provided. We can also see contacts related to this job, so we've got our client here who's the primary contact, and we can click this and we'll send an email. Or we can also click on the phone number and we can call that number directly. So if we wanted to upload a daily log, we can do that from our mobile device. We click on daily logs, click the add icon in the top right hand corner. We can choose who we want this to be visible to. So we may want to share this with the clients, suppliers and contractors. We can take a photo with our mobile device, or we can select a photo that we've already taken from our library. Let's say we want to update them on the framing. We can click the photo, add, and we can write some notes. Timber framing, update, and hit save. So anyone that's been granted access to this daily log will get a notification that there has been a new daily log uploaded, and they can come in and view the information that was provided. Okay, so we can view our selections for this job by clicking selections. We see our selections set, any that are awaiting approval. We can click into appliance selections which has been approved. We'll be able to see any comments that any staff member has left on this selection, and then we can also see any attachments that have been provided. So here we have some images. We could have a brochure or any other information that's linked to this selection. So previously we were looking at the schedule for a specific job. However, we can come to the global schedule view and we can toggle on my items that have been assigned to you as a staff member. Here you can see items that are assigned to yourself, or we can see globally all schedule items across the business for all jobs. Again, we can filter these with all of the fields that are available. If we then click on more, we'll be able to view all notifications that have been generated. We have a checklist has been marked as complete. We have a schedule item has been accepted. We have notification that we have been assigned tasks within the system. We can also see all of the contacts within the business. So we can see all of our clients, suppliers, contractors, and staff members. We can go into any of these and access their email address and their mobile number. So we can easily find contact information for all of our suppliers and contractors. Here we can see the email address, the phone number. We can press this and call that number, and we can see the address to go and pick up some supplies. We can also click into the supplier contacts and see all of the individual contacts that are entered into the system under that specific supplier.